Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 65th episode of the HSBG Podcast. I'm your host, Educatedcollins. I'm here with my constant co-host, Shady Bunny. Shady, how are you doing?
I'm great, Collins. Or a lot better at least.
We'll
How
talk
are
about
you?
it for sure. I'm doing a lot better as well. Back home and feeling good generally. It does it. I don't know. It feels like I've been away longer than a week, right? Like I was really just gone for a week, and a week's not that long, to be fair. Like it's not, but you come back and you're like, wow, things have changed here around here. I haven't seen this house in a week. Yeah, it's been so long, but I'm re assimilating into the NA culture. I've got my I don't know. What do people do in NA? I don't know. I don't
Pay
even
for
know.
water.
I haven't paid for, I've bought water, to be fair, like
Yeah.
since I've come back. And anyways, whatever. I'm fine. I'm okay. Da da da. I don't know if we have a long one. We spent most of last week, even though I don't have an uploaded that to the RSS feed, so like the
hmm
podcast directory. So I actually need to do that. I haven't uploaded like episode 60. Like that's just a weird thing that I haven't
Oh,
done.
60 got skipped or
60 got skipped. Yeah.
oh no.
So that those are like the two weird things. I felt weird because like every time I've thought about it, I've had to upload a different one. I didn't want to like barrage him and like, oh, here's an old episode. five
Oh, by the way,
5 weeks
yeah.
ago. But I really should just like rip that band-aid off, like you were saying earlier. Yeah,
Mhm.
and, get that in there. So yeah, I need to do those two things. So you might just get 3 episodes this week, which I guess you don't care. I mean, but
No, I mean it's it's like when you usually work through the whatever you have, right? And you have the podcast running. Like sometimes I get excited when I'm listening to one of my favorite podcasts and I'm like, it's 5 hours, let's
it's
go.
5 hours. Yeah,
So that's basically what they're getting, right? They're getting if you're getting three
I've
episodes.
I've not done that, but that makes sense. Like sometimes a podcast will have like an extra episode, like they'll do like a bonus special. I'm like, yeah, I'm never like, no, oh no, another bonus episode. What will I do? Like, but I see what you're saying, for sure. So I will tell myself I'll do it. I'm not promising I will, but I will tell myself that I will do it. So who knows if I'll listen? I do usually listen to myself, so maybe it'll work out. But da 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 da, you know how it always goes. We talk about our Battlegrounds weekly overview, though I would say most of this overview isn't necessarily BGs, right? Like I really only played BGs last 2 days, I would say, of this week, right? Because I was traveling most
Yeah.
of it, and then we had the tournament, then traveling back. I was a bit sick, so I didn't. I tried to play I played like an hour and a half, like the day I came back, just to see how I felt. But if it didn't really feel like I could play on the level that I found acceptable, whatever that means. So I didn't do
Yeah.
that, and then only these last 2 days have I really played. But they've been going well, I would say. I haven't really had too much difficulty, right? It's not like, oh, I left for the trip, I came back to Europe, now I have that Europe style, and it's so my gameplay, so none of that happened. I'm still fine,
With
still kicking.
crazy training and now you fight those NA noobs and it's so easy.
Honestly, I don't know. That's kind of true. Anytime you play these like high level tournaments, it always feels
Yeah.
easier. Like you always feel like they're just not pressuring you as
Huh.
much.
I'm not dead here. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So often, right? You're like, I'd be dead
Yeah.
here on
I'm
the
like,
tournament.
I should be dead here. I'm not. Okay. No one else should have died. Huh. 2 people died.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that is the most common thing after tournaments where you're just
Yeah.
like watching it, like, oh, they
People
died, like
randomly die. Right?
they died,
That's it.
yeah,
That's a huge one.
yeah.
Like,
So,
people don't die in tournaments unless their opponent was just obnoxiously strong,
hmm,
just stupid high roll,
yeah,
or it was just it's time,
it's
right, for someone
turn
to die.
11.
Yeah, but they don't just die, right? Like, normally on ladder, you can kind of expect someone to die, and then you catch the ghost, and yeah, none of that
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
tournaments.
yeah. You don't like that's true. In tournaments, you don't ever get the thought of, "Wow, they died." Like unless
Yeah,
something is very wrong, with the opponent they fought, it's you don't get surprised from a death. It's like, okay, yeah, 2 people died here. That makes sense, that kind of thing. Or like, oh, this person died. Okay, I have to watch out for the person that killed him. It means like a lot of things they're playing this combo. They must have a very clean like beast comp setup. Oh, double mama bear is probably their comp I need to play around. There's so many like little things where in ladders, like someone died, you can't really take anything away from that. Just like I hope I fight the ghost, or ooh, I'm at 36, so it doesn't really matter to me, like that kind of thing. So, but generally, about PG's week was pretty good. I'd say kind of normal, whatever.
cool. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat, of course. We both came back from the tournament. I started playing a bit earlier than you, right?
Yeah,
Because you
that's
still
true.
needed to make the
Yeah.
trip. So I guess I got like a day and a half extra. Um, yeah, we both got sick after the convention, right? Which is
Do you have a topic on that?
sure, yeah. Well, I guess it's like it's hard to talk about the week
No,
if you
no,
don't
no,
talk
go
about
for it. I'll just move from topic to topic.
that. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, we could talk about it after. But yeah, essentially same thing. I didn't really experience super bad, like, oh, I can't think, my plays are bad. So I just played. I played in my main. I jammed. I had like, ooh, plus 500, minus 500. And then the last 2 days have been, ooh, plus 500, ooh, plus 300. I was like, oh, okay, now we're up.
Okay, all right, here we
So,
go.
so I was like, all right,
Yeah,
so I was like up and down and up and up. Oh,
oh,
that's
yeah,
normally this
yeah, yeah.
case. So,
There,
yeah,
there you
that's,
go.
and now I'm like, oh, I'm starting like I'm actually 100% almost. So okay, let's keep it up. Right? Like, it's that God, the guy from the wrestling thing, whatever, the meme where his face just gets more and more excited every
Vince
time, right?
McMahon, yeah, he
Yeah,
retired
Vince McMahon.
recently.
I saw the tweet.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you?
it's
I'm surprised. Yeah, whatever.
yeah, it's weird, right? We
Yeah.
we do have some Twitter commonalities, it seems.
Yeah, someone,
Or
someone in our mutuals like really,
someone's connecting us,
yeah,
yeah, for
yeah.
sure, absolutely. So yeah, I'm hoping that I'm back on the front page now. So my honestly, my last 2 months have been just a bit of a blur with not sleeping a lot, and then just being a dad right now, just dad life, doing things, and just being like, all right, I'm just gonna play. I'm gonna do my best, but I haven't really felt super on top of the meta, super on top of my game, which is why I was a little scared going into TwitchCon with that. Um, but it was okay, right? My tournament was okay, and now I'm starting to feel more and more comfortable with the meta, and it's starting to show in my games where it's those games where you have like no business getting a top two, and I do it anyway, or like no business winning, and I do it anyway. When I'm like, okay, cool, this is nice. Like, even the tougher games are winnable now. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with the week.
You have no business winning. What does that
Yeah, just
mean?
like, so I
Always
had
have a
this.
business.
Yeah, so you would probably hated that game.
Oh
So it was a
no.
Scabs game where I essentially so Scabs has 40 health, right? No
Yeah,
armor.
yeah.
And I get a Galakrond turn 5 in Mama, so minus 15. And then the turn after that, I get, God, I don't even remember what it was, but again, like probably like some Mama Bear type shit where it's just you take a 15, right? So I'm taking 15 into 14. So I'm like, and I haven't taken any damage before that, so I have 11 health. I was like, oh, I'm starting the game on 11 health. Isn't that great, chat? So I'm just very, very defensive. I'm very bunkered down. I'm on tier 4. I'm a Scabs, so I do have a little bit of leeway here and there. and I end up getting just two deflectos, and I taunt both of them. And my board ended up so insanely scammy, right? I had golden micro
Yeah, I
mummy.
already hate it.
Yeah, you would have hated
Yeah, I
it. So
hated it.
golden micro mummy is the first card, then Kangor,
I know.
then golden Kangor. So
Okay.
I summon micro mummy, right? Then I summon two micro mummies. Then I summon four micro mummies. So my deflectors are just like reset, 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 reset. And I have a grease spot in the back that I stole from someone eventually. So it's like macro, right? It's like buff, 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 buff. And I almost get first place because I'm just scamming. Like I got Leroy at the end, and I almost still got there, right? Only one of the deflectors got Leroy. So I was just sitting there like, it can't believe it, chat. We started the game on 11 health, but we just went so defensive. It was, yeah, that was a beautiful game. So it was like, all right, I'm feeling it again. The scammer instinct took over. But I would have been out, and it would have been normal. Nobody would have blamed me, right, to take a top 8. But I was able to change my mindset and just be very like, okay, we got to change it. We got to like, I was like buying metal tooth leapers, you know. I was buying micro mummies, just like very, very humble, modest, like just whatever I need to do to win the next fight. Just stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. And then eventually I was able to build it into a comp that could actually tackle, bigger minions with the taunted deflectors.
Yeah, that's really not a comp I play, period. I just don't. I'm looking through my last like 250 games, and I don't think I've played that comp at all.
It's so funny. It's so
it's just not a comp I play.
We've done it in a co-op, right? Where
Yes, but they don't count. Co-op games don't count. I'm saying by myself, okay, I'm given the choice to go deflecto mummy scam, and I'm just like, I'd die. I'd rather die.
I'd rather die. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
No, it's not. It's not fair. But it's just like not something that it's like ingrained enough of like, oh, I could do this like very easily. Let me grab this.
Yeah, with enough resets, anything's possible. Because I got blastered, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. They killed my mummy.
Yeah, I see it. I know.
Kill my mummy, whatever.
I know.
No problem.
I know. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I'm just saying like I just don't do it. Like period. It's just not.
Yeah, you get Leroy, right? That's the thing. You get Leroy. So
yeah, but you get Leroy and Mecro, and if you have two of them, it's kind of fine, right? Because it's still the same. It's like you have a Mecro basically. You have two Mecros, right?
Yeah, two ton of Mecros.
Yeah. They're just not reliant on Divine Shields. That's. Maybe
but it's like macros that gain extra damage during the fight as well, right? Because every mummy that spawns gives extra damage.
Yeah, so, I guess you do need the double. You need two because you're not getting the reset to every hit from your micro mummy.
Yeah, you need either them to not have shit that can kill your deflecto, because if you do have the grease spot, it does scale up, right?
Yeah. So with the grease spot,
sometimes
it's like
really one of them survives. But yeah, if you have two, is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can also get started on maybe like a taunted puppet and one taunted deflecto, just to not be full all in, and then you sell the puppy later or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely something I will not think about, but I will pretend I will. Let's be honest.
I thought I'd just mention it because you asked.
It's great.
Game I have no business winning. Right? So yeah, that's.
But yeah, a lot of people during TwitchCon got sick.
Yeah.
I'm not even exactly sure if it was from TwitchCon. Like maybe it was like before TwitchCon. Like I drew your picture. Yeah, I gave that picture to chat yesterday while I was streaming. I was like, oh, this is a picture,
Right.
And Shady was complaining about it, so I drew him a nicer picture, But like there was it didn't, at least for me, it didn't really feel like there was like too much focus on COVID, I guess. There wasn't really any mask requirements. There weren't too many people wearing masks, I would say, and there was no like distancing at all. Like that was not true. And I think a lot of people just kind of feel like they already had COVID or whatever, so it wasn't like a priority for them, I think. But I had never had COVID before. Until I actually don't know if I got it, but I'm gonna assume I did. Like that's just my safeness.
That's what I'm going with as
well. We went to like karaoke, and that was like a COVID death trap, I would say. Like you can't really can't really if you can't really dodge that. I think in there. So
Yeah.
uh,
Small room, people
yeah,
singing. That
yeah,
was
small room, people singing. There was no distance. Yeah, for sure. A lot of
very
people too. So
very likely to get
high
it.
likelihood, like somebody in there, incubating something. So, but at least for me, it hasn't been that bad. I've been making sure to take care of myself generally, but it wasn't like too bad for me, right? No like high fevers or anything like that. So it's okay, but it's always something to be aware of when you go traveling or to events, right? That you can get it, and if you want to, make sure you don't get it, right? Just be a gremlin, right? Don't go anywhere. I mean, don't go near anybody. Always be wearing your mask. Don't touch anybody. When anyone starts coughing, sneezing, you run the hell away. And maybe you'll get lucky, and that might not save you, but still, it's better than nothing. So, definitely just something to be aware of. Good reminder, because I've been seeing a lot of posts from people just like, "Oh, I got COVID. Oh, I got COVID," and they all went to TwitchCon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't want COVID, essentially, like, don't go to a convention. I
Yeah,
guess. And if you have to go, right? I mean, you're always masked up. But even then, if masks are mandatory, then you're gonna have everyone else running around without masks, and like you have like, I have someone in my timeline who said he was just masked the whole time,
Yeah.
And still got it, right? Just because other people were running around without it. So I'm not. Yeah, it's probably just if it's really dangerous for you, then yeah, you can't attend conventions.
Yeah. To be
Pretty
fair,
much.
like unless you're using like a N95 type mask, like the mask really just protects you from giving it to other people. Like if you're
Right.
if so, you need like a very specific mask, which some people were running.
Yeah, we did see them,
Yeah.
but it's just 99.9%, I guess. Wasn't
But
very
it is something that happens, something to be aware of. So just wanted to do that. Anyways, other thing I wanted to talk about, just how does it feel being back, traveling and doing all that stuff. I don't travel too much personally, so it's kind of a nice, nice new novel experience. I haven't been to Europe. I will probably be talking about just the Europe experience, but how does it feel coming back? Anything you miss, or like you remember, like from traveling, like, oh, traveling is interesting in this way. Whereas being back home, it's nice being on my bed. Kind of forgot, even though the bed in the hotel wasn't bad per se,
No, it was good.
but it's still
Pillow
different.
was a little harder to get used to, but it was like fine when I figured it out.
So there was like two sides to the bed. I remember I would go from one side to the other, then back to the other side, and then I would like wake up on the other side. I was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? So I was moving around, and I guess I wasn't like super duper comfortable, but it wasn't a bad bed or anything. The shower took me a while to figure out how to use. I don't know about you, but there's like two versions. You have to hold the back of it to get the actual one to drop on. There's like a hand one initially, and then there's also one just a shower from the top. I didn't know how to use the one from the top, so I was just using the hand one the whole time for like the first day. And the second day, I was like, I accidentally figured out how to use the one from the top. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what you do.
Okay, maybe it's
a
there was an
Europe thing.
Illustration. It was very straightforward.
Very straightforward, yeah. For me,
I
had
mean,
no idea.
You had like two levers.
European
right?
showers, had no idea how to use them, personally.
No, you have like one lever here, which is like hot, cold, whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you have one lever here, which is, do you want to use this shower or that shower or that?
Yeah, but
handle,
you had to press the back of it to activate it. If you didn't, you get stuck on it. So at least that's how I.
Okay, maybe I misremember, but I seem to just be able to switch in between the two. But
I didn't. So
okay,
yeah,
they gave you the weird one. They're like, we'll give the American the weird one. I'll teach him.
Well, I learned it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering whatever.
Maybe it's just so simplistic. You didn't even have to think about it, and you just like manually like, oh yeah, here's how you switch to that. No issues, whatever. Where I'm just like, what do I do? Like I'm stuck here. I was like, oh, I'm didn't know I had to press the button. Like, so I'm gonna assume that you just knew how to automatically use it, and I was like an idiot. And it took me a day, but I figured it
I
out.
mean, still a shower though, right? It's fine.
Yeah, it was fine. I was just saying that was a bit different than what I'm used to. There were like a lot of like stuff, like even the toilets were like different, like because in US there's like a little handle you pull down. Here there's
Right.
like buttons you have to press. You just press the button.
Yeah.
And there's like two buttons. I don't know what the difference they all, to me it seemed like they both did the same thing.
It's one button, yeah.
Oh, it is one button. Okay, yeah. But
Yeah.
all of them had two buttons, and they were like different size buttons. So I'm just like,
it is weird, but you press and then they both hit the same thing. essentially.
okay. They're just like, here's two
I
buttons.
was like, oh man, which one is
Which one is like the small amount of water? Yeah, and which one's like I took a dump. Yeah, I had no idea. So it's always interesting, just like seeing the different stuff. Also, this is more Europe centric, right? But just like there's like a lot of walking, traveling, public transport as well in Europe. Just like kind of. I hadn't been to Europe before per se. Like I've been airports and stuff like that. And just being in Europe is kind of interesting. Just and it wasn't just Amsterdam, right? I got to go to Brussels and I got to go to Amsterdam. Like went back to Brussels, and there's so much walking throughout. Also, the cities are alive. I do think that might be because we went to like the big areas, right, where there's a lot of activity. But like, it was like 4 a.m. in the night, and there's just like a ton of people outside walking. Also, it was like 11, and there was still light out. Like there was still like sun outside at 11 p.m. What? I was like
That never happens. in
no,
Texas, or-
no. As soon as it's like 7, 8, it's darkness. Yeah.
Well, 11 and still, I guess, yeah. Honestly, I shouldn't even begin to talk because, like, oh yes, the sun is up. And, like, I don't know. So if you saw the sun up at 11, then they sure. It's just, I've no idea.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay. It doesn't. I guess the sun sets different time or so, but it was very like, oh wow, it was kind of surprising, and like everyone just walks home, like, oh, there's a 50-minute walk home. That's fine. In the U.S., it's like, you're gonna die. Then again, walking home takes like 4 hours, So maybe because everything's more tightly packed together, you don't need a car for everything. It's like okay to just go.
The norm is you take some kind of public transportation, right, to go party or whatever,
Yeah.
or you'll have designated driver, right? Someone in your party that just not going to drink. Right. But especially if you're not leaving as a group and you're kind of just, all meeting up at some place, at least when, you're younger, let's say your early 20s or whatever, you're usually just grabbing public transportation. And then if you stay out too late, they might not,
When
run
does the
anymore.
public transportation like end? Like 2 a.m.
I think I think in Belgium, right, on a normal night, it's going to be something around 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
So,
But how do
maybe a
you
bit
not
before
stay
1 a.m.
out past 1? You know what I mean? Like, isn't that like
Yeah.
normal?
So I think it also changes depending on some, like, let's say with New Year's or whatever, there'll be like throughout the night.
Oh, okay.
So there's specific
That's
dates.
nice.
Yeah. So it'll be but yeah, it's kind of normal to then either party through the night, right? Just go home in the
I
morning.
didn't even
You
consider
could do that.
Yeah.
You could do that too, like 5 a.m. or whatever they start up again, or you can just walk. Yeah, that was yeah. I did a lot
We
of
were
walking.
walking everywhere. It was crazy. I was like, oh, we walking here? Oh, we walking here? Where's that? Just everywhere. It's actually very different. You would not do that here, at least in Texas. Texas is very highway centric, so if you want to go anywhere, you need some type of vehicle. So very different, at least for me. Also, it's very beautiful, very nice. The places we were at, they were very, very nice areas. The the waterway, right? And then there's like boats on the side and stuff that not in the U.S. Very cool. I like seeing that and stuff like
Yeah,
that. A lot of old houses as well. And then we went to like this like castle essentially. That was also pretty cool. You got your clam.
Oh, the last night.
Yeah.
The let me see if I can get the translation properly now that I'm on a computer. To see what I made call as it. Oh, I guess they're called mussels in the
Mussels, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that means anything, but they're clam type, right? Where small clams, you open them up, there's some meat inside. So,
There was a lot more of them than I thought. Like you get like a huge amount, you know. And then the people in front of us, they were all eating it. They all had some. I was like, oh,
there's just like a pile of empty clams. Yeah.
Very interesting.
No, that's a very typical dish you'll eat here during the summer months.
Yeah, I ate a lot of stuff that I hadn't had before. Cause why not? Yeah, why not? Didn't kill me.
Yeah. When in Europe.
Exactly. Walk home. When in Europe, walk home. That was my takeaway, personally.
Traumatized. I had to walk. It's like, Mom, you can't believe it. They made me walk.
I mean, another thing is that the vibe is different. It doesn't necessarily feel like it's capitalism 100%. You know, like in terms of like how people treat you. You're getting like free stuff. Every line I was in, they were giving me water for free. There was even one line I got water twice. The airports, they gave you water. Even the flights, right? You're just getting free water and stuff like that. Where in the US, almost everything you're getting charged for it. You know, here you want this, oh, it's gonna be this amount. You want this, you're gonna be this amount. So like going to Europe and like I'm just coming in and they're like, oh, you want some water? I'm just like, how much is that? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm just like, oh, okay, it's free. Okay, I'll just take that. You know, so kind of nice. It was so funny. I went back to US. So I had like two flights. I had a US flight, like a domestic US flight to US flight. Right. I go from, it was like Miami to Houston, and I go there, and then I'm in the plane ride, you know, and they're like, "Do you want some water?" I was like, "Yeah." That'll be $3.50. I was like, I'm back in US, baby. They're charging me for water again. I was like, damn, you know, the international flights, free water, free food, you know. Immediately domestic flight back charging everything. I was like, yeah, here we go. Here, you know, back home. So very different, you know, I would say, in terms of like how to treat. There was that one interaction where I wanted salad, right, instead of was like fries, right? And they're normally in the US, they're like, oh, that's perfectly fine. But for them, they were like, ooh, that's less. Like the fries are cheaper than the salad's cheaper than the fries. Ooh, I'd have to calculate the difference. That was going on through the head, and I was just like, oh, can they not do that? And they're like, oh no, it's cheaper, you know. So I'd have to like take out some you know, some of the price of the food, and I was just like, in the US, they would just give me the salad and move on with their life. They wouldn't even consider like making it cheaper at all. That would not cross their mind. You're just like, oh, you want the cheaper item? Here you go, take it. You know,
what a sucker!
Yeah, what a sucker!
Instead of fries, lol.
So it's just it was a very different vibe, just like interacting with them. So I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, but it was cool. I enjoyed the free water and all the other stuff. Public transportation, it actually is not that bad, to be fair. Like, it's not a issue. Walking home, they didn't even want to get an Uber. So I was with Lee, right?
Yeah.
The second day, he got the Uber. The American, he was like, let's get the Uber. You know, well, the first day I was walking with Zorgo, I think. And he was like,
Yeah.
nah, yeah. I just won the tournament. I'm not paying for an Uber. We're walking home, Collins. Like, I was like, okay, all right. I mean, geez, man.
Yeah, I guess it's just such a habit. No, I'm I'm kind of with Zorgo
You're
there,
with
just
Zerga.
on autopilot, right? Like it's like if you would set up the Uber or whatever, blah blah blah, I'd be like, yeah, sure, no problem. But my automatic, my instinct as well would be like, yeah, let's just walk. If it's like half an hour, 45 minutes, like that's an acceptable walk.
I can't believe it, Chet. I can't
Yeah.
believe how they treat us. You know,
I mean, walking is good for you, man. Like, can clear your head and shit. Especially if you're like walking with
not
friends or
at
whatever.
4, not at 4 when you're like been drinking and stuff. No, I don't necessarily agree.
I don't know. Maybe that like helps you to not be so hungover the day after if you've walked home a little bit.
Sure. I mean,
That's a bro sciencey thing though. Like, don't take that.
it's not true.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I see you got the
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
your new friend. Yeah.
That was the one. There was a bunch of these at TwitchCon. This is the only one. This one was the other one that I kind of wanted, but I didn't get was the not like this. Not like this. That one I also wanted, but I didn't grab it. But I got the lol. I'll take it.
The lol.
Lol.
Got the lol for the lols.
The lol. But yeah, being in Europe's pretty cool, pretty fun. I had a good time there. A lot of good stuff. We kind of talked about the tournaments last week, but still should mention it, right? So we all played. Zorgo was the champion, though. And he played very well, very consistent. I would say he averaged top 2 or no, like top 3, I guess, average or so, throughout the
super
tournament.
solid
Yeah,
performance.
so
Like the game where he just had like some bird buddy crap on his board.
yeah, there were a lot of games like that. He really abusing the Roach style, So Roach to victory, basically.
Yeah, I mean, in a tournament lobby, knowing when to go all in on that tempo and just don't die for a few turns, that's very powerful.
Yeah, for sure. So played very well, got the first place there. It was a very close tournament overall. I would say a lot of people were definitely in like one game positioning.
Which is not relevant at all. Just people don't remember anything, or it's like
Yeah.
It's
No one cares
which is
about
fine, which
the
is fine,
detail.
yeah.
I don't like it. No one really gives. They want who won.
Who won? All right.
All right, then everyone else get out of here.
You want to know who was second? Do you want to know how close it was? Nah, I don't give a shit, bro. Just give me the number. Give me who's number 1. That's it.
Yeah, very weird, but I mean, it is how humans like to look at things. So, congratulations to Zorgo. Any thoughts about the tournament itself, like per se, like just like if you were? I think they asked for a review. I don't know if you filled that in. I haven't, so maybe I will. Any thoughts about the tournament itself?
It was a super super fun tournament. Just the only thing I would prefer is for the games to be a bit closer together, right? So essentially, you have some the flow would be better, but I mean that just means that the feedback is have less delay in your live tournament, which is overall it was great.
So like less delay or like less breaks. In terms
no,
of
it's really the breaks are fine. It's really the last game, right? The one I think it took like 1.5 hours, right, between game number 5 and game number 6 or so.
I say so that's
just too much. It was a completely cooled down, essentially, from like you get into sort of a
competitor vibe, and
you
lose that completely.
And then it's hard to be like on for an hour and a half, right? So you kind of turn off, and then you got to turn back on.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you basically reset mentally, and even like momentum you had is like lost completely. So I do agree. For me, I would say the tournament was really good in terms of like. I had a good time. It was fun. I played it. There may be 2 things that I would have liked to see. First of all, I would have liked to have the 2 games on stage instead of the one, right? Because of the delay, they moved we played the extra game in the tavern. I would have liked to actually have just like they have their delay. Let us have our delay too. let us get our time. So I would have liked to have those two final games in the actual tavern. Also would have liked to have a walk-in. I think they skipped the walk-in also due to time constraints. So the only people that really got on their stages were the two constructed players and then Zorgo. I think those are the only three people that actually got to like walk up on stage like during the live broadcast. And I would have liked all the BG players that were participating to have been able to walk up there, kind of have maybe a small introduction or something like that. Because I think if you weren't like super paying attention, right, you could have not known who were actually participating unless you were like, really looking and checking, who's playing, blah, 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 right? You'd really only know Fino, Jaga, and Zorgo were up there, so would have liked
that's
to.
True. That would have been. I think a lot of that was also basically the same thing, right? Where
Time, I know it's all
have
the
your
same.
live event run, but it don't mean to. Because it was fine, right? It was great.
yeah, it was fine.
I was happy.
I'm just saying.
I don't want to sound like I can't believe they invited me and the tournament ran late and they didn't even pull us on stage, right? So yeah, I don't want to be that person.
But I mean, if you're asking for feedback,
it'd be great, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking for feedback, right? Like that it would have been nicer. It would have been nicer if they had more time, because that was planned, right? But they fell behind on schedule due to the previous production or whatever. So yeah, it would have been nice if there was time to do the player walk on stage, small introduction, etc. So absolutely,
those are the only complaints. If I were to make some, like overall is great. I'm just saying, like
and the staff was super accommodating. It was so awesome.
Yeah, they were asking for feedback in the thing, so I was just saying, like, if you had feedback,
absolutely,
this is what I'd say.
And then they want that as well, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to say like, but they also know that, right? Like, probably.
But do they know that we care? They when like the players actually want this too. Like, it's a lot easier to like push through it and get that extra time going or so. So it's. I just thought that would have been more exciting, I guess, as a competitor. Just to be like, oh yeah, cool.
Then to just come on stage, get it to top 8, and I'm
gonna check out.
That's gonna haunt me till my next tournament.
Don't do that to yourself.
No. I do it in a fun way now.
I know. But
still, I'm still really happy about my tournament. So.
Yeah, it was great. But overall, congratulations, Zorgo, and Zixo as well for getting second. I got third and whatnot. So top 3. Those were the things. So really good, really fun. Just making it to the tournament itself was like big deal. Like it didn't, it didn't really. You didn't get the vibe that was like the reward, but in essence that was kind of the reward. Just like even getting there, getting to meet everyone, like it gives you an excuse. There's some people that didn't go to TwitchCon because they didn't make it to this. Didn't make it to the final, so just making it in was like enough an excuse to go to the to TwitchCon, which you might not have went otherwise, right? So pretty nice to see a lot of players, and it's also nice to just like interact with your competitors. Like you beat someone, you can like literally walk over to them. Hello, how are you doing?
The best part was I was just diagonally over Zorgo, so I could just see him and he could see me, right? So I remember like when I think I had like bacon or whatever with Tide or something, and I look up to him, right? It would just like phone me like, that was nice, and I would just go back to our game.
Zixer was talking about how he could hear me saying stuff like, "Oh, he has a grease bar," and he was like, "Oh, you just hear me." I didn't know that. I may be too loud when I was talking, especially like on the stream and whatnot. But it actually is not as like game changing, I guess, as sometimes it can be like just to hear
Yeah,
people kind of talk about it.
normally you would. I guess it's a little
Like
difficult
in
to.
tournament mode too, or when like you can't like like play weaker, to screw someone like that, you'll get killed.
Yeah.
Like it, the amount of abuse you can do in the knowledge is like not as high as in ladder. Where ladder, someone will die and you can like mess people up because of that and stuff like that. So, anyways, one thing I want to talk about was like some BG stuff. We haven't really talked about BGs in a couple weeks. I feel right because to be fair, they haven't introduced a patch for a while, right? Like since like the grease spot changes and stuff. But I was talking with Sun recently. She was saying like the meta is like she kind of likes the meta. The meta is like pretty balanced and whatnot. So I just wanted to talk to you about like what do you think about the meta? Obviously, I think there are gonna be some like non-balanced things about the meta, and I'm sure she will agree, right? Like, oh, grease spot is like overtuned. Necrolite cookie synergy is overtuned, right? But like, if you kind of like ignore that aspect of it, like, what do you think about the meta overall? Like, ignoring those kind of obviously overtuned things.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like it. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll put it that way. I do like it. I'm not too hard to please when it comes to like, oh, is this meta fun to play or not? I will say that the a big difference due to Grease Spot right now is that you just don't see that much poison scam going on in high MMR, which is weird. You still see it, of course, right? And people will do it, especially in non-mech lobbies. And I've done it myself in some mech lobbies when I'm like Lady Bosch, and I'm just like, all right, I'll have shields as well, right? So then I'm not at as massive of a disadvantage. But it is something that does stand out where before the Grease Spot meta, you would see a lot more, oh, I'm going to do my thing, and if I don't get to a point where I'm going to get, a huge board, I'm going to really start rolling for Sephin, I'm going to get my Selfless, I'm going to get Manted Leroy. And you do see less of that right now because it does get punished quite hard by Deflectobot, by Macro. Poison does not do much if your opponent has Divine Shield and then refreshes that Divine Shield multiple times. You're going to want to run either Blaster or Leroy just through that. So, but overall, I am enjoying the meta. It's maybe not something for everyone because the cookie stuff can get a little crazy. Cookie on and the gem swapping. But I like that it's almost like a puzzle that you need to solve a little bit like building a board of Amalgadons where, yeah, if Quillbore are in, you're going to want to do this, but it's not as obvious as how are you going to get there because a lot of
every
people...
time we do it, there's always someone in chat like, is that a book?
Yeah, you have to explain it. So it is... it is absolutely not a intuitive interaction. So once again, we'll just explain it, right? Because someone might be listening to the podcast. There's a very good chance to say, like, wait, what are you talking about right now? So when you use Cookie Chemist on a unit that has a lot of gems on it, you can then move those gems without losing the stats with a Necrolite. So the Cookie makes those gem stats permanent, even if you do move them afterwards. And you can repeat that. So you've moved the whole gem stack to another unit. You then cookie that unit and then move the gems off that unit to another one. And usually you'll do that in the late game where you started out playing Quillbore and then you'll slowly move those gems away from the Quillbore on top of Cleaves and then just keep swapping and swapping and swapping until you just have like 2 huge Cleaves, 2 big shields or whatnot. And, like maybe a Quillbore left and then Leroy, etc. So that is a very common thing to do in Quillbore lobby. Another very common thing is in mech lobbies, you can have grease spot boards. And I think there's a reasonable amount of no mech, no quill lobbies as well, where you then get that variation. Okay, what am I going to do right now? Then you'll have the no mech, no beast lobbies with Murlocs in. So then you can play poison there. Murlocs might be out as well. And then you get this really funky lobby where you have no mechs, no quills, and no Murlocs, or no mechs, no Beast and no Murlocs, and then you're like, okay, what am I doing now? Well, maybe I'll be playing some demons, right? I can do some
demon Nagas. Those that they start to jump up. Yeah,
Nagas are definitely. I think Nagas are pretty consistent in then pretty much any lobby you can play them. You just need to be careful to not like force it, right? Nagas needs to sort of happen on its own, but there's always Nagas are in plus beasts. I can now play around the Hydra. I can Wind Fury and Divine Shield my Hydra. And then you need to be careful. Like, I think the reason I'm enjoying the meta as well is because I'm starting to really see all these little nuances. And I'm starting to figure out, okay, what are all the broken things and what are their weaknesses? So Taunt the Mechrel is insane unless you Leroy them, right? And I've been very consistent yesterday on my Leroys, on the Mechrels.
You know, you've completely reminded me of like I think it was the buddy meta or something where we were talking about how important the minion types are for how you play the game. And we were like, oh, you know, if this is in, then you play this. If this is in, then you play this. This is this, then you play this. We're getting to that point here, aren't we? We really are, huh? Where it's this in there, we're playing this. This is in, we're playing this. We're getting to that point for sure.
I think the longer meta runs and you just have people play this all day, that's just a natural, unless the meta is really specific, right? And there's, you know, not much you can play, which here, depending on the bans, is definitely not the case. You, that's a natural evolution, right? You're just going to learn, okay, this is good when this is in, this hero becomes a lot better when that isn't. I think with the buddies, we saw it a little bit more because you could really tell what a hero wanted to do and was probably going to do at the start of the game. So for heroes, it was like, oh, you don't want to play this hero when this and that is in. Oh, you really want to play this hero when that is in, right? Like, we're talking, let's say you're playing Ragnaros and demons were in, so it's huge. Yeah. Like, let's say you play Ragnaros, Murloc out, demon in, right? That was like, okay, that's so stupid. You know, like the amount of games where I don't really play Rag, but the amount of games where I just had a Trickster on either end and then triple, and then I have this 80 health golden Trickster. Murlocs are out. Leroy wasn't a card yet. Mantid wasn't a card yet. I'm going to use my Parrot and copy that and get 160 health from my golden Trickster. Yeah, good luck, everyone. So you could have these really, really dumb things that you could very consistently execute. So probably, like you mentioned, the buddy meta, it was a bit more extreme there, just because heroes could very reliably then also force the thing that was going to be good. But the we're talking like Vol'jin, Dragons in, etc. But now the current meta, it's true that we have these very specific. I think one that you and I really look at is the no beast, no mech Murloc lobbies, right? Where you can't really just roll for 7. Like, I've done that too many times. You just get killed, unless of course you do find it immediately and you get started. But it's almost like you just got to find something to do. So let's say Quills are in, you play Agam for a little bit, right? You play Agam and then you add a 7, you buff a little bit, and then you have an Amalgam, and then the Amalgam gets poisoned as well, and then you just move full poison, or you get a Mithrax, or whatever you need to do. Because I've had too many games where I've had, it's a no mech, no beast lobby, I know what to do. And then 30 gold later, where's Sephin, right? And then I don't have Sephin and I just die. So yeah, that's something I learned. You got to do something. You can't just donkey roll for it, or donkey roll at your own risk.
Yeah, it's very interesting, right? You never see Divine Shield Poison Amalgam, and you never see it. Yeah, that's it. You would think, that should be very strong, but actually, in the meta, if you have Max and Murlocs in, why are you going Murlocs? What are you doing? You're killing yourself. So you just never see it. Where normally you think, Divine Shield, Murloc, Amalgam, that's a really good board. It kills 2 units for that's really good. But actually, that's super troll in this particular meta, because if you're playing Max, you need to get the Grease Blow. What are you doing with the 7 here? Why are you trying to get poison on your Amalgam? It doesn't even matter. Just get Mechros, get Deflectos. That's really what's going to kill you. So you actually never see Divine Shield Amalgadon in the game, even though normally, like what you would think going into this meta is like, oh, Divine Shield Magnum, that's got to be really strong. It was like the strongest card in the game before the changes and things like that. But it's actually interesting.
The thing there is I think Leroy plays a huge role in that as well, where
Sure.
at least amalgams just tend to be huge, right? Amalgams, they soak up everything, right? You have any leftover buff, the amalgam's like, I'll take that. Oh, Peggy, I'll take that, right? It's random Murloc buffs, I'll take it. So amalgams just tend to get huge. And then I'm always just like, do I even want to module this? Do I want to like escort their Leroy into the Amalgadon? Like probably, or into the Amalgam? Probably not. So I think you obviously make a great point where if mechs are in, module is in, obviously. So you don't really want to do poison stuff anyway. But I find that I rarely actually module my amalgams these days, at least if they're huge. If they're not huge, whatever, I don't care, right? Just use it to tank Leroy. But most of the time, if I have a huge amalgam, I don't really want to give a Divine Shield with module because, it's just such a Leroy magnet.
My amalgams aren't huge. Because I'm only buying the amalgam to put poison. It's like a 3/4 poison. And then I put the amalgam, it's like 8 health. It doesn't matter. So yeah, mine don't end up being huge. But I see what you're saying. If you're like committing to it from the early
I had a galley game earlier with Golden Peggy and had a 400 health amalgam.
I remember I was almost awake for that. I mean, I saw the.
Oh wow! That was a fun game, man. Yeah.
You were like, what? I was like listening to you while I was sleeping, basically, which I don't normally do.
Right.
But he's playing.
I went turbo buffing. I got a turn 7 Nomi on Gallywix.
Yeah. You had Nomi double Peggy. 10
I just bought 2 Peggies, and I could just hear someone in chat thinking, be like, why are we buying pirates when we're playing Nomi? I was like, just wait 3 turns. It's like bonk. This amalgam has like 100 health. I'm like, yep, Gallywix likes Peggies. So yeah, no, for sure. But it's great that you pointed that out. We do, I guess it's about maturity, right? The maturity of a meta. When a meta does mature quite a bit, you start getting to the point where you can really tell, okay, minion types, this starts to happen in this lobby, and I think that's a fun feeling to have. I think if you've spent your time and energy in a meta, and you can sort of almost visualize how the lobby is going to go, right? Without even playing the lobby, you can say, there's a very high probability that
I do that.
Somebody's playing this, and then but it's a great thing to have, because whenever you then have a fork in the road, we're like, do I want to go left or do I want to go right? Which direction do I want to go here? You just think, okay, in this lobby, which direction does better? And usually there's quite an obvious answer, I'd like to go here.
I went Dragons 2 games in a row yesterday. It was so troll. I was like, what am I doing? I had to leave.
So you went through the middle. You were like, I don't want to go left. All right, I'm just going through the bush, whatever. We'll just get the Cali. And
I was like, I haven't played Cali in like 200 games. Like, I'm just gonna place it.
And now you know why, right?
I won actually the first one. The second one didn't. That's probably why I won it again. Right, I won the first one.
So right, you intro it back. But what were the conditions of the win, though? Right?
I got 3 6-drops. Okay, yeah. So.
Oh, okay.
It's not
so
fair.
you're doing a little bit of a show.
I had options. I was like, I could win with anything. And here's Cali. I guess I'll play Cali.
What is this? Like some
I was playing Jandis.
Jandis. Okay,
yeah.
Sure. Jandis, and you pulled double Cali or what?
No, I pulled Cali Uther.
Cali Uther. Yeah. And you hit a bronze warden?
Huh? What?
Did you hit a bronze warden with the Uther?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. I can see that. That's the thing.
That's actually very correct.
What would it take for me to play? And then you just keep swapping. Did you make another one the turn after?
I made like Razor Gore, and then I made 15 Glyph Guardian, and then I just like leveled for like Nadina. I hit like Nadina, double Nadina.
Archetype becomes playable when units start at 15-15. Okay. I like it. We found a way to make dragons viable, guys. You just gotta swap Uther every turn.
You just need 3 6-drops. Like it's simple. And you're playing Jandis, and you can swap them every turn.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who haven't done that yet, it's, Uther is probably the best 6-drop to get on Janus. It's so good.
Yeah, it's probably the best early tempo 6, I would say.
You just make a 50. I mean, you wouldn't hate getting a Grease, of course, but
Oh, right.
15,
I forgot about.
turn.
Okay, Greece is the best. I'm totally lying.
I think it depends on your situation.
No, it doesn't.
Like Mex might be out, right?
Unless Mex are out. Yeah, if Mex are out, then yeah, Grease spot's not that good.
Grease spot's not so good. Mex are out.
But other than that,
for real, I think if you're in that spot, I guess it depends a bit on your, like, what does the rest of your board look like? But yeah, obviously you're not going to be upset with an early Grease.
I mean, if someone's saying every situation, Grease or Uther, I'm just like, all right, Grease, like just.
Oh, no matter what's going on,
I'd just like, I'll be okay with it. Like, no matter what, just like, okay, yeah, so I'll take Grease.
I think most of the time,
Grease,
Uther, you're always going to be able to level, right, with Uther. So then you're on 6.
Yeah.
You can roll into Grease.
There's a legitimate argument that Uther is more versatile and has a lot of situations where it's just straight up better than Grease. Late game as well, like, you can definitely be too late for Greases, so you don't want to be like, oh, let me force Grease. There have been some situations where it's like turn 14 and I roll like double Grease and I just take it, and then I'm like, wow, this is really good still. Like, I'm just like, wow, this is still very good. Super late in the game, double Grease. So it's
any
broken.
Divine Shield already on the board, or not really?
Yeah, obviously I have to have something, some reason.
No, but I think it's important to point that out, though, because I think the natural evolution that happens, because we're also guilty of this, right? When something is strong, we're like, oh, it's always Grease.
It's always this, yeah.
You gotta do this. That is the first. Like, if you don't have Grease, don't even try to win.
Don't even try to win.
Then you play more of it, and you're like, sometimes you have a Grease and you don't win. You're like, what happened? What happened?
Dude, I died to like a sub 20 with like double Grease, and I was just like, how, why? Like, I was mad. Like, I play so hard to get 2 Grease spots and I lose a scam to die. Like, come on. That's not fair. I worked so hard for this. Like, it's actually so funny, right? Like, I lose with my Grease. I'm like, man, I worked so hard to get double Grease.
It's my turn to win. I have the Grease spots. What the fuck? No, but yeah,
that's how I feel.
To my original point, then when you play more of that meta, you realize, okay, it's strong, but it's not always Grease, right? So because then sometimes you force it too hard, or like you said, it's too late. I think the main weakness of Grease Spot, if you were to put a weakness on it, is that if you are playing it without the premium Divine Shields, it's obviously way weaker.
Yeah.
So you do not have Deflecto, or you do not have Macro. The card is just nowhere near the same. It's still good, and if you get it early, you're happy to see it. But to, let's say, level to 6, have no shields on your board, then buy the Grease Spot, and then not rolling the Mackerel immediately or Deflecto immediately, it puts you in a position where, let's say you leveled to tier 6 on early, like turn 8, right? And then turn 9, you add a Grease Spot. If we're then talking turn 10, you need to add a 3/2 Deflecto to your board. That still starts out very small. So, like, it's stuff like that where you can sometimes think, that's maybe a bit too slow. But, of course, if you put yourself in a situation where either you Uther the Deflecto immediately, or you already have 2 Deflectos on your board and you then add a Grease Spot, it's insanely good. It's super strong. Yeah. But it's all about the support, right? Do you have the Divine Shield support? Do you have the good Divine Shield units? Then the Grease Spots is absolutely crazy.
Funny enough, like, Grease Spot wouldn't be that much of an issue if it wasn't a mech. You know what I mean? Like, if you could play Grease Spot in non-mech lobbies, you'd be like, oh, it's not that
you'd be
good.
like,
yeah.
You'd have some.
Like, let's say it's a Quillbore or something, right? Like, what you get the Tough Tusk and the Bristleback Brute. That's all you got.
You get like Bronze Warden or so.
Yeah, like, it's not. It's the scaling, like, the power in the Grease Spot is the Macro and the Deflecto. The resets, getting to hit again with shields, getting that extra buff. So instead of getting +3, +2, you're getting +6, +4 a turn. And with Macro, you're getting like +20, 20 plus 12, 14, or more, right? Like that's where the power really lies. It's not the card itself. It's just that it has like insane synergy with all the really good mech cards already. So when you add them together, it's like it's insanely strong. So, kind of interesting. It's not the card itself, but the synergies around it. Same thing with like Callie, I guess. Like when Callie had Prester and Nadina, like it's not Callie itself, right? We know that it's not Callie. Now that we've played with, we know it's not the Callie itself. It's the Prester and Nadina synergy around it really doing a lot of work, and also maybe the what's that, the Murloc card, the 6-drop Murloc card.
The young Murloc?
No,
the young Murkai. Young Murkai.
No, the battle cry. Like
the 6-drop Murloc.
It got removed. Yeah.
Oh, seafood slinger.
Yeah. Like Callie with seafood was broken, right?
It's mainly just the fact that Amalgadon was a card, right?
Well, and Amalgadon, like Callie Seafood Amalgadon was broken, right? But
so yeah, I guess what you're saying, or correct me if you're wrong, but what you're saying is just the heavy. Okay, so essentially, picture this: if Murlocs are in, I am already going to be spamming battle cries, right? I am going to be doing that. Yeah. So I will be buying a brand. And I will want Amalgadon, and I will want to play Primal Fins, and I will want to play Seafood Slinger. So yeah, if that is the case, then obviously Callie's a lot better. Because, I'm regularly going to have like 7-8 battle cries per turn played if I get a good enough setup with Bram. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's not like oh, Callie's so broken. It's that when you have a Callie and Murlocs are in, Seafood is active very easily. It's a lot easier to get to 6, a lot easier to get 6 drops, a lot easier to get double Callie, a lot easier to have the Nadina, get Divine Shield. Your Amalgadons are scaling for free with the Callies, and it's a lot easier to make that comp work perfectly. Whereas now that you've taken out the Seafood, you've taken out the Amalgadon, you still have you've taken out the Prester. You still have Callie and Nadina, but where's the synergy? It's not.
You're not playing a bunch of battle cries for free every turn.
Yeah, so I feel like Greece.
I missed that Murloc in PM. I'm just and then just because a lot of the time you just needed to trust, right? Just like you have the slinger in your hand. They're like, no, skip the rock pool. No, I'm rolling for the dog. I'm rolling for the primal fin. Like, I hit the primal fin. Let's go. Whee!
Yeah.
It's good times.
I feel like Greece is kind of in a similar boat, which is why I'm fine with remove the Mecro. Like maybe nerf Greasebot to a little bit, but the Mecro's the problem. Deflecto I think is too core for Murlocs for mechs right now. I don't think you can remove Deflecto and have Murlocs functioning. It's really
mechs, right? Mechs, but yeah. Deflecto is. While Deflecto, I would say, is not exactly a fair card.
It's broken. It's definitely a broken card.
Mechs need that, right? If mechs were already not really doing that much pre-Greasebot.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you kill off Deflecto, it's just don't put him in the pool anymore, right? Just don't bother. Just don't offer mechs if Deflecto is not in there, because that's their whole spiel, right? The whole spiel is we get the reset with Deflecto, and that's it. It's sometimes really frustrating, especially if you and I needed to go into the shield and then the reset hit and then the other shield, and it's mech combat can be very frustrating.
The other spiel is Buster. All right, that's the other spiel. I will throw that in, but generally, there are two spiel compositions, so it is what it is. But I haven't answered the question. I also like the meta. Just to clarify, I do think the meta is good. Obviously I don't think it's balanced. I don't think, but it's just a couple cards. It's not every single card that's causing the problem. It's just Greasebot, Necrolite, Cookie. I would say, and the other archetypes aren't really. They don't cause me as much pain. Mecro as well, those things. The other archetypes don't really cause me as much pain as these things are definitely a problem. But even the Greasebot Cookie stuff, it doesn't cause me that much pain because there aren't that many people that necrolite you. It's just the streamers and like the high MMR players, which I am getting in my lobbies, but that's not like every player I fight. So I don't see it too often. I'm most likely the one to be the one using it in a game. I would say it'd be, if you were to look and like who's gonna do this, most likely it's me. And then it's like the other streamer, and then
And then you're like, do I enjoy doing it, right? Or is it something that I have to do and I don't?
Do I enjoy doing it? Not really, but like it's so strong and I enjoy winning, so I don't care.
So you
know what I mean?
kind of enjoy doing it, right?
Well, just give whatever has the highest win percentage.
Collins, all right. Collins will just play what wins, which is fair. I think a lot of people do that. Right?
If there was like, if I start the game and like a game of like solitaire pops up, and like you have like a minute, complete the solitaire game, you get 5 coins, start the game. I'm gonna do it. And then you ask me, do I enjoy it? I'm like, no, but I'm doing it. I do it every time, because I enjoy winning. Like, so
5 coins, maybe.
Yeah, 5 coins, maybe. Yeah, exactly. So it is. That's how I feel about it. Like, oh yeah, I don't love it, but I do it because it gives me the highest chance of winning. So kind
That's
of
fair.
okay. Anyways, there were some hot fixes. I didn't know there were. Well, I knew some of them, but it looks like they fixed Vander Drekthar.
Yeah.
And then also Leroy, right?
Yeah, the Leroy one I'm not 100% sure on. So that's the one I think is fixed from what I've seen.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if there was like an official communication on that.
No. There was no communication for Vander Drekthar. I'm pretty sure as well. So
I think that one. I think you even pinged me right the day of the tournament, like, "Yo, don't do this."
Yeah. The day of all right. I was like, "Oh, they fixed this." Shady, you gotta know. Don't be picking these heroes. Like you're gonna
don't slam your Vanguard, man. Don't do it. It's not gonna work.
Yeah. So before the bug fixes, what you could do with like Drekthar Vander is you get a magnetic card, so Menace, War Gear, a Neural Module. You can hero power them, then, let's say that, instead of a 2/4 Neural Module, you have a 2/20 Neural Module. You can take that, put it on your minion, and then that minion will get the 20 health, and then the turn after, you don't lose that 20 health. You'll keep that 20 health permanently. So let's say you put that 20 health on your biggest minion, the 20 health minion. Now you have a 40 health minion, right? The turn after, you can use your hero power again. And now, since your biggest minion is 40 health, now you have a 40 health Menace. You can put that 340 on your 40 health minion. And now you have 80 health minion. And then the turn after, you would hero power War Gear. And now you have a 580 War Gear. You can put on your 80 health minion. Now you have a 160 health mech. And then next turn, you're like, you know what? 160 health for 3 gold is pretty good. Let me just put down my Deflectos now. Let me Menace my Deflecto. So now your Deflecto is a 180 or 160 or whatever. Like, seems pretty balanced. And if you ever get pressured, you're like, you know what? It's not good enough. Let me just hero power another Menace. Put it on my my 160. Now you have a 320 next turn. Okay, let's put that 320 health on the. I've literally won a game. I've spicy pressured mustard like this. It was so casual. Like I just played super safe early, and then I got a Menace. I got to level 3, or Tavern tier 3. Hero power Menace. Okay, bam. I've got a 20 health minion. Okay, next turn. Hero power another Menace. Okay, 40 health minion. Next turn. Okay, level. Hero power War Gear. Okay, I have a 80 health. Put it on the same minion. I just like ramped that up to like 320, and then I'm just putting that 320 health on everything, and I just couldn't lose a fight.
It always feels like you have to just fight to create that initial thing where you can start swapping, but when you do, right, it gets a lot easier.
Yeah, like
you don't want to be starting on 5, right? Where you're like, okay, out from 5, and then the next magnetic is 10, and then it's 20. That's a lot of magnetic for not that much return. So if you can start 10 plus, that is nice.
Yeah. You just like, it's not that hard to get a 10 health
like
minion.
Tavern Tipper, Weaver, just anything, right? Yeah.
And it was so free. Like that game was, I was like it was funny because my opponent was, I think he was running grease spots, right? But then I'm just like 320 health on my deflector. Like,
Nope. At some
like-
point, it's like,
okay.
so my man, do you have poison or not? Right?
like your freaking 50-60 deflectors are nothing against my my 600 attack deflector. Like, I mean, 600 health deflector. Like, I don't care that your thing is a 50-60. Mine is like a 30-600. Like, I'm I'm winning that fight. Like, don't care. It was so stupid. Drekthar is a little less busted because you have to put a little bit more work in. Like, you can give things a ton of attack. What you can do though is once you get a high number of attack, you have to add cookie in to permanentize the health. So it's not as free because health is like more resource intensive or like more valuable, I would say, overall than attack. If you have infinite attack, you still die to one hit. Where if you have infinite health, you never die.
I just watched Lee wrap up a first place on Drek where he was just a poison scam, right? So he just made like 200 attack on the 7. To cookie, 200 health on the 7. Yeah, that's
the cookie is the difference maker.
Yeah, cookie is the one that still works, by the way. You can still do that, so you can still cookie stats. So it's not like these heroes are useless now. They're not unplayable, but they went from being quite nasty if mechs were in to, make it work, right? Like, I wouldn't recommend anyone play them if you're not comfortable. If you're not already comfortable with these heroes and you know the little tricks to get started, then you're probably going to be like, all right, so I just do stuff with the cookie, right? And then halfway through the game, we're like, I don't know what to do. I'm dying.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed. You have to.
You need to do something until the cookie stuff, appears, shows itself. Yeah. So you gotta handle yourself. So.
Yeah. So those heroes got bug fixed overall. I don't play them anymore. They're dead to me now. So. Yeah. Yikes, They used to be playable now. Like, this once again is my least favorite part of BGs, I think, just bad heroes. And like their resistance to delete them because of skins now that I know the reason I don't like that reason, but I understand it. But and also like how slow it takes to buff them, I guess, or adjust them. It takes a while for them to find something that they're happy with, and then like if it's too good, they just remove it again, and then you're back where you started. Like, it's very easy for them to overbuff stuff. It's so hard for them to get the right balance. So you get like a few weeks to like try. Oh, they're playable, and then you're back to like unplayable, and you're just like groaning again. So
yeah, I wouldn't say unplayable, but it's true.
Are you playing them? It's a very simple question. It's a very simple question. Are you playing them?
This was a 13K game and Lee got a first. That's right. That's all I'm saying. No, I'm not playing a whole lot of Drek and not a whole lot of Vander.
Yeah, that's a very simple
question. That's a very good question, Nick. Am I playing them? Let me answer that by saying I saw someone else play.
You saw someone else playing it. That sucker. But he happened to be a good player, so he made it work.
Yeah.
Friend of a friend. Don't PTS me like that. Don't.
Oh God. Good times.
I start flashing, but overall, I would love to see them like Pyramid, right? Like, I was initially complaining like, oh, this is like a little bit too strong. Now I'm like, nah, it's fine. I actually think it's okay now. And it's crazy because I still think the hero's like good, but like I guess in this meta it's like not as crazy because like what happens is people like the hero power seems busted, and to be fair, it kind of still is busted, but once you get to the late game, like people just scale so much that your hero power doesn't matter. That also makes me think that not using your hero power early is probably a bait. Like, you don't need 7 health a turn. You probably like 4, 5, 6. Like, that's probably the breakpoint where it's like pretty busted, and you can use it early enough where it feels really busted. But once you get to the late game, once you get like Fellbat scaling, you get Greasebot scaling, you get Quillbar scaling, even Elemental scaling, like that 5, 6, 7 health doesn't matter at all. Like, so. It really just lets you abuse that early game, keeps you safe, lets you like power level in some situations. So, but overall, like I don't think that hero's like super crazy anymore. Right. Initially, I thought it was right, and I bet if I haven't like looked at the win rates, right? Like, which is maybe weird, right? Like, I haven't looked at win rates. Like, I have no idea what statistically is the strongest hero right now. Like, I have no idea. You asked me, no clue, which is good, right? That's like a good answer. If you ask someone what's the strongest hero right now, and you're like, I have no idea, that's a good answer. Like, that means things are going well.
That is indeed that is a good. It's because I'm with you on the Paramat where I still really like him, and I think that he's like a really great mech Kobor hero where Paramat just loves 3-on-3. I'd
Wow.
say
The
sometimes
answer
even
might shock you.
what is statistically the best one.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna take a stab.
You're not
Just
gonna take a guess, okay?
hit me with the number.
It's Guff.
Well, but we can't filter too hard, right?
Well, top one, right?
That's
But,
top 1%.
yeah. But he doesn't win at all.
No,
His
no.
win percentages. Do you
thing
want
is,
to guess what number 2 is? I think this is also gonna shock you too.
Oh Jesus! If it's gonna shock me, it's not someone like Scabs or whatever, right? So
Scabs is like top 5, actually.
yeah, I like Scabs a lot because he could.
So is Tess. Tess is also top 6.
Tess and,
It's because of Grease meta, right?
Yeah,
That's
filter for no mech lobbies for Tess. I bet she drops.
Can we do that? Yeah, we can, huh?
You can, I think.
Yeah, you can.
Right, but I'm still guessing for the other one, right?
Yeah.
God, it's so weird. What's a hero that I? It's not gonna be Reno, right?
No, Arena's.
I don't know.
It's Shutterwalk. I know. Yeah, weird, right? Like it's
yeah,
still...
but what's the once again, right? Can we filter for no beast lobbies? Is that still?
I don't know. I don't know how to filter. It doesn't. I don't get to apply.
I don't think I have the premium stuff on HS Replay anymore. So
I do, but doesn't seem to work for me.
I've seen Pocky, I think, mess around with it, but I wouldn't know how to do it myself.
Yeah, me
Either
either.
way, whatever. It's that is indeed still quite shocking to see Guff being the overall best performer on, top 1%. I don't think that holds true when we go even more exclusive, right, on the rankings, and we start asking, okay, but what about people that are 12K or more, blah blah blah. So.
Oh! I did last 7 days and Shutterwalk disappears, but that just means people aren't playing Shutterwalk.
Yeah. So
Which
Shutterwalk had a sick win rate with Beast 10. And
because the hotfix doesn't.
I have not seen a Shutterwalk in my lobby in a very long time.
I've seen one.
Since
Yeah. So.
And it can work, right? Like you have Pirates, you have Nagas, it can work.
Yeah, but like Test Scabs both top 5, like Grease Pod meta, like you can tell.
Yeah, I'm very happy picking Test or Scabs in my mech games.
Very, very,
mech
very.
Pro, right? Super good.
But it is pretty interesting. Just the meta, like per se, isn't like it's obviously not balanced, but like you don't know what the best hero is. Like I wouldn't say. I'm looking at the best heroes and like they don't. If I get the heroes, I don't really care. Like any of these heroes, like it's like whatever. Like they're kind of whatever.
It's so minion type dependent as well to see what I'm gonna like.
Yeah. So
I think anytime mech quills are in, a hero that is very comfortable going 3-on-3 gets a lot better. And then when they're out, heroes that can lean into something else, make their own game plan. They don't have to rely on the grease spot. Those are also nice. So overall, go ahead.
I was saying the 3-on-3 heroes look to be doing really well right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like Cookie, Pyramid going. Not well, Pyramid isn't like 3-on-3, but it can be. So those are really doing well.
I like them because you kind of hold it anyway, right?
Yeah.
With Pyramid, you want something that has significant attack to make the health worth it.
Yeah.
So being able to even like play a salty looter, right, and give that extra health, and then get a bootlegger to give an extra coin and +1/+1 to your salty. That's good.
I mean, bootleggers.
I guess you started.
Bootleggers are nuts. To be fair.
Yeah, and then you can switch into Peggy from there and do some cool shit. Murlocs are out. You just buff like crazy. Also, The moment you get to 5, the Naga that doubles the stats is such a sick pickup for Pyramid because you slap some health on that.
I haven't done that, but yeah, it makes
Oh,
sense.
it's great. That's a good one.
I mean, that's a Vol'jin thing for me. Like,
Yeah, that's a Vol'jin thing as well. But even as Pyramid, it has 6 base damage after it enters combat.
Bubbles, yeah.
And it starts 3 health. Let's say you've held for 3-on-3. That's going to be plus 5
right.
HP, right? Yeah. So then you're already
is it plus 6?
So I think if you're on tier 2, it's plus 4.
Yeah.
Right. So it starts plus 2, then plus
then
3.
Go to 3, then
first
5.
you use 4.
Yeah. Okay.
So
should be plus 5. Yeah.
I think it's 5. Yeah, I think it's 5 if you're 3-on-3, 6 if you're 4-on-4. I've done that. I don't think I've had 7 ever. So the Naga then gets 8, right? So that's already 16 health. It's pretty. Yeah, it goes pretty fast. Or am I messing this up? Plus 5, 3 baseline. No, yeah, that's 16 health, right?
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, right. I'm having to double check it myself, but
616,
it makes sense because you're essentially adding 10 health, right?
Yeah.
It's got normally it's a 6/6 and you're adding 10 health.
It's a battle master. It's a battle master. Wow.
Yeah, and then it scales with gems, right? You can use Agam, you can gem swap to it later. You can use Bran with jugs, and yeah. So overall, I still really like Pyramids, but I can understand that he fell off a little bit. Now that people are just pushing more for Grease Spot because Pyramid is
he's still top 10, right?
Yeah,
so
that's good.
That's still really.
But he was like
overwhelmingly, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So without getting nerfed, going from overall best performer to being top 10 is you'd think, which is cool to see that there are quite some levers in this game to pull. Whereas like, if the meta changes, the thing the hero does might just be less valued, and that's the case here. Where
is at a broken 6. I mean, that's
that's
a big lever.
Now people that can get to the 6 are obviously a lot better.
But interesting. I mean, we wanted to talk about some Hearthstone stuff, I would say. So I think we covered most of it. Don't really have too much more to add unless we're missing something in particular.
Yeah,
or Chad has something to say.
It was a fun wrap up, I guess, from having our post TwitchCon debrief, right? To just purely talk about TwitchCon, which I think is fine because a lot of the listeners did, they experienced that build up, or like, in 2 weeks, Con's going to be here. Next week, Con's going to be here. TwitchCon, this and that. So it was nice to have the full debrief. And now we're back on to just, pure meta stuff.
Back to standard. By standard, I mean constructed. And by constructed, I mean BGs.
By constructive criticisms on the metas.
On the meta, yeah. But hopefully, I don't know. I don't have a finisher here. I'm done talking. Technically, my throat's supposed to hurt, but it doesn't really. So.
Oh, say again, sir?
No. I was giving the excuse. I shouldn't be talking so much. I
was just gonna say that we. I feel like we both didn't really get very sick, so that's. I guess that's a nice thing where I do know that's. You can be quite sick, right, from contracting COVID. So
yeah. I now remember how much it sucks to be sick, because I don't normally get sick too much or too often. So I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what sickness feels like.
Here I was saying that it didn't affect us that much, but yeah, so still not something you want, right? Yeah.
No.
Definitely not something just get sick, right?
Yeah,
Although, when I was a teenager and I could skip school, my brain definitely did some stuff where like, I'm sick. Sweet, right? So that's a pathway that formed there. So maybe that's why I don't mind being sick as much, because it's very I have good memories of that. We're like, I could sit at home and play WoW all day. Oh no, I'm sick. Oh no, yes, this is tragic. I'm going to miss the test.
I think for me, it was like, oh, I'm sick. I'm still going to school. Yeah, I don't think there was a I get to stay home for me.
Making the other people sick, Collins, please.
Yeah, you just go to school like, oh, guys, I'm sick. Don't talk
Just
to
fuck
me.
it.
Like, no, but I mean,
Stay away from me.
yeah, I don't think I like stayed home for that.
Oh man, yeah, we have very different school experiences.
Yeah, so I don't have that. Like, oh yeah, I'm sick. Nice. No, I'm like, oh, I just feel like garbage. So yeah,
Alright.
no, not great. Don't like it. Reminder that hey, being sick isn't that great. So, anyways, I think that's it for us today. You know. Thank you guys for joining us. You can send us feedback. You know where to find us. Thank you for being here. Bye.
See you next time, guys.
Wanted to speed run that one.